Hello, welcome back. I'm Darren. And as per the title, the 7900 XTX is gone. Sad times. Nah, I'm kidding. Pure clickbait. So effectively, it has gone from my desktop and it is now back to where I basically purchased it for, which is on the sim racing system. Now, the reason I purchased it in the first place was because I'd seen a lot of talk, a lot of hype over the AMD system, and last time I used AMD, it wasn't great. So I decided that my sim system, it didn't need upgrading, but I'm good at spending money. So I saw it as an opportunity to tell myself that it did need upgrading. And I thought, what better opportunity than trying out the AMD, which I'm hearing a lot of hype over. So that's what I did. And kind of the only problem was I connected it straight up to the sim racing system. I am sat in an aluminium profile rig in a bucket seat. It's not the place to be to try out various games. So I wanted to kind of probably start doing some content. I wanted to be fair to the system. So I didn't have much choice other than unbolting it, bringing it out to the desk, trying it on the desk where I could run it through similar games to what I play on the 4080. And that's kind of what this conversation is about, how I feel about it, how it worked out for me, how I feel kind of going forward with AMD. So yeah, basically, I wanted to give AMD a very good go. So I basically bought what I consider would be the best way of giving them a go, the best GPU and the best gaming CPU. And it has been really, really good. Now, you've probably seen the games that I've been running. I've put up probably the best, you know, I've put up content on both systems of the type of games that I run. You probably get a good look at probably the type of games that I normally play myself. It is kind of open world or first person shooters, and if it's not that, then it will be sim racing games. So it's been really good. Definitely not the experience that I had when I purchased the 6800 XT. Now I know I can see by content that gets put up on the 6800 XT now that the 6800 XT is a very good GPU now. It wasn't for me when I bought it, and that's when it mattered. It being a good GPU now is not a lot of use to me. I kind of wish I did keep it, but at the same time, I sold it and I moved on, and I've done that with a lot of GPUs. So at the time, I did buy it from already having a NVIDIA, and the experience wasn't great for me, and it put me back to NVIDIA. And since then, I've had quite a lot of NVIDIA GPUs. So moving back to this, or at least trying this one out, is the first time I've obviously tried AMD since the 6800 XT, and it's been really, really good. Now, if I want to get into the negatives, which unfortunately is where I'm going to have to go, and why I've chosen to put the XTX back on the sim racing system and the 4080 will stay at my desktop, is basically down to probably the couple of main things. And I don't think these are probably anything particularly new, but the first one will be content creation. I have obviously started doing some content creation, clearly, and unfortunately, the NVIDIA just has an advantage in that because the compatibility on the NVIDIA system is a lot more than the compatibility on the AMD system. So already with the two products I've bought, which I'm using right now, the microphone and the camera, they have features that are NVIDIA features only. And it's funny, you plug those things in and you're like, okay, download the software, right, okay, these are the things that I can do, and then instantly it comes up with NVIDIA 20 series on. It's like, right, okay, that's a kick in the teeth. And then again, with the recording software, now all of these things have a workaround, so they are not a deal breaker. If you only had, or if I only had the AMD system, I would either A, live without them, or B, find workarounds for them. So obviously the other problem that I had was my recording software. So I've now found last night, I don't know if you saw, I put up some content last night and I found a way of making it work so that I could render, and that was basically just moving off the AV1 encoder. The AMD AV1 encoder was having hassle. Now, I don't know if that was through recording with it or just through rendering with it, but I moved to the HEVC and I was recording in HEVC and then I was rendering in HEVC, and that fixed all the problems that I was having. So, like I said, that's a workaround, not a huge deal, but again, something that I didn't have to really bother with or worry around. Everything on the NVIDIA system, just when it came to anything to do with my stuff working and just compatibility, there just didn't seem to be anything that I had to work around. It just all clicked and worked. So that, unfortunately, was one thing that has led me to believe that so far this system is going to be the best for me for any type of content creation. And the second thing is just in the games that I'm playing, I still have the advantage. If I didn't have the 4080, the 7900 XTX would be perfectly good. I want to make that clear, because realistically, to get anywhere near the XTX, you're going to need a 4080 or a 4070 Ti Super in scenarios I would imagine is going to be as good, if not you might even get an advantage on one of those. And that'll be probably the next place that I will go, which will be the upscalers. So you've probably seen the way that I play and the content that I'm making. Obviously on a 4K screen, upscalers are obviously important, you need them. But you'll probably also notice that in a lot of the UE5 games, it seems as if, I don't know if there's a reason for it, I don't know if it's just a shortcut for developers, I've no idea, but there does seem to be in some of the new games that you no longer have like a TAA. So you are relying on your upscaler as the anti-aliasing. So instantly, like I think on Alan Wake 2, straight away your FSR, or I don't even think it even gave me an option for XeSS. I'm sure it was just FSR. So you're starting straight away at FSR. Whereas on the NVIDIA system, obviously you're going straight to DLSS. So that's already affecting native. So native is no longer effectively native, because native is already stacked onto your own AA solution. So effectively in some of those games, you might find that native no longer being native would be obviously DLSS or DLAA or FSR AA. Now you already might have a visual advantage at say 4K. You might already have now the visual advantage on the NVIDIA system because the DLAA is working better than the FSR AA. And now I'm not saying FSR AA is bad, it's actually very good. But that already might give you the visual advantage. Now upscalers in those games has a hugely powerful effect, is in performance gaining, especially at 4K. And I did notice in some of the newer games on the UE5 engine, going from 4K native to using a quality upscale will generally take you from say 45 FPS up to around 80 to 90 FPS. So a huge performance gain to be had in the upscalers. So something like a 4070 Ti Super against an XTX would, in that scenario, might actually balance itself out. Where it will lose on raster performance, it might actually be in a situation where it can, you could use a DLSS quality upscale versus a FSR AA and have a very similar image quality, and then you'd have the performance gain from the DLSS being at quality. Whereas if you then obviously went with the FSR quality on the XTX, you might then, start to actually get a degradation in visuals. So I've said it since I've started this channel, where I've started doing this. DLSS is an extremely good tool. It gets downplayed. I'll get kickback for this. I don't care. I use it. If it wasn't any good, I wouldn't use it. If you watch my videos, you'll probably realize how fussy I am when it comes to quality issues. I generally will pick up on the smallest things. So basically that's the advantage that obviously I get on the NVIDIA side. It's nothing new. And then obviously you have that bit of advantage when it comes to ray tracing. So those are generally the games that I play at desktop. So now that doesn't make the XTX bad. It's a lot better than what I'd imagined. I'm happy that I bought it. I will 100% consider AMD going forward. But in the same time, for me personally, I don't think it's changed my mind, as in what would I look at first. And if I only had the choice of buying one GPU next generation, I would still look at this moment in time, I would still look at NVIDIA first. Now, if NVIDIA completely screw me, or if NVIDIA decide that they're no longer making GPUs, then I would be happy with AMD and I would have no problems with it, because as you can see probably from the videos that I've been doing, I can make it work. So it's none of these things are a huge deal, but I'm in the situation where I have both, so I can only be fair and I can only be honest, and that's my fair and honest opinion, but it's what works for me at the same time. People need to realize that it's what works for me. If you're in a situation where you like heavily modifying games, or you just straight out refuse to use upscalers or frame generation or anything like that, the XTX will be the GPU for you. If you just play COD and don't care about any other game, the AMD GPU will be for you. It's just what works for me, and the content creation and the type of games that I play, where I am relying on DLSS, and I do use ray tracing in some of those games if it's available, and if I feel like it has a benefit for me to use it, then I am going to be better off with the 4080 over the XTX. The XTX in raster performance is incredible, but that doesn't come without any type of penalty, and the penalty is the amount of power that it draws from the wall. Now, I'm not going to make that into a big deal. It would be wrong for me to make that into a big deal, because I'm an Intel user and I don't care about the power draw from an Intel CPU. So I'm not going to make a big deal about the power draw from an AMD GPU. But I'm not going to discount it, because this is my opinion on things that people, in case you didn't realize, I would have hoped it's probably quite obvious, but I do see a lot of people still on the AMD side basically slagging off NVIDIA's efficiency. I don't know if they realise, but it's kind of changed around this generation. I know last generation it was maybe the other way around. I know my 3080 Ti pulls a lot of power, but yeah, I mean the XTX pulls some power. It is generally around 400, between 400 and 450 watts. So it does have a lot of raster performance, but it's not free, and that cost is, efficiency and heat. It will run hotter. There's no way around it. If the NVIDIA system is running 300 watts and the AMD system is running 400 watts, then the AMD GPU is going to be throwing out more heat. There is no way around that. So that's probably the only other thing. So as far as it goes, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm glad I bought it. I will be keeping it. Now, when new games get released, I will just, it's not a huge deal. I'll just unplug it, pull it back out to the desk, plug it in at the desktop, and I will be going through new games as they get released. I didn't see anything on the immediate horizon. So I took this opportunity to get back onto the sim rig. And the reason that I wanted to get back on the sim rig was because it's Spa weekend, and that is my favourite track at sim racing. I haven't been on ACC for a good couple of weeks, and I just wanted to get back out there. I wanted to get on Spa. I want to set up. I'm going to spend a bit more time trying to set that system up. So I will do some content on that. I'll probably just want to touch base on. That's good timing. I probably wanted to just touch base on my sim racing rig, so that is set up. Effectively, I probably wanted to go through how that's set up. So that's set up on a Moser system. Now, I went with Moser because it was the easiest for me to get hold of at the time. I'm in the UK. Fanatec was a big. I looked at Fanatec. I probably would have gone with Fanatec if there weren't the couple of things around Fanatec, like the customer service didn't look good. It seemed like they were saying stuff that was in stock and they were blatantly lying about it. Would that be fair to say? Now, those kind of things put me off because I'm pretty sure it's the same around the world. When you buy from Fanatec, the only place you can buy from Fanatec is directly from Fanatec. So that all led to me to a big no-no. I looked at other brands, and at the time I think Moser just looked the most attractive. So I did buy the R5. I did make a couple of upgrades to the R5 system, which was like just the thing for the brake pedal to give you a bit of force on the brake pedal. If not, it was literally just like the same as the accelerator. And I did upgrade to this, which was the KS steering wheel. So that's a relatively cheap steering wheel for what it is. Really good steering wheel for the price. Comes with probably what is the best quick release out of any of the things. So over the last month or so, I've been looking at upgrading, and I've been strongly considering moving from Moser to SimMagic, because the reviews on SimMagic are very good. And it seems that the software on SimMagic, although it doesn't look as nice, it seems that they have an advantage within their software of some of the feeling that you get from force feedback and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't want to mix match. I don't like mix matching stuff. I don't like having too many different software applications. I hate having to download software for stuff. So I kind of stick with, I've got like wireless Logitech mouse, wireless Logitech headset, and then I've kind of started buying like the Elgato stuff for the streaming stuff, just so I'm not having too many separate things. And it's kind of the same with the racing. So with the sim gear, I was looking at SimMagic, but I have noticed that Moser have just released a new steering wheel, the GS Vision, I believe, and that looks awesome. I do need some more power in my force feedback. I am on the R5. It is limited on obviously 5 Newton meters. I'm past 5 Newton meters now. That bundle gave me everything I needed to know if I liked sim racing and if I wanted to invest a decent amount of money into it, or if it was something that I wasn't interested in. So it's been a really good package for me. Now I can either keep it or I can sell it on. I'll probably keep it because I've got a feeling my kids, certainly Jack, as he gets older, he might want to use it. So for its resale value, I think it's probably better off just keeping it. And 5 Newton meters will be perfect for obviously a child getting into it. So I'll probably upgrade the wheelbase. They are releasing obviously new stuff like that steering wheel, which looks really good. But even over that, I've seen that they are going to be releasing a forced feedback flight stick, which is massive in the flight simulation industry. So that's kind of quite exciting for Moser, and it's kind of making me think that I might just stick with them and just hope that in the future we just get these little updates in their software, which will just improve maybe some of the feeling in the force feedback and stuff like that. Because technically, the actual hardware is not far different from the other manufacturers. So I think this is stuff that can obviously just get sorted out at software level. So effectively, this weekend I probably will be, I know it's not of interest to a lot of people, but I might try and figure out doing some content on the sim rig at Spa. Probably want to do some ACC at Spa. And then I will start doing some stuff on the 4080. I'm going through some of the games that I uploaded the other day on the XTX and doing it on the 4080 instead. I'm not going to be trying to match the settings. I'm not interested in that. I'm just interested in the game itself and what settings I need to get it to have the performance that I like and look how I want it to look, basically. So I don't, how one setup compared to the other doesn't matter. So I'm probably going to start going through some of that as well. So if you like that type of content, awesome. Give me a like, subscribe if that's the type of content that you want to see. I'm going to look going forward. I want to try and improve all of this going forward. How I'm going to do that, I'm not quite sure. I started probably trying to do better thumbnails for my YouTube video last night. I probably thought I should spend a little bit more time over stuff like that, because realistically there's so much content out there. How do you make someone want to watch your content over the next content? It is quite awkward. I'm not particularly bothered about making money out of YouTube. I'm not even sure if I would anyway. I probably swear too much, I don't know. But yeah, basically that's my kind of where I am now. That's where I am with AMD. Brilliant. It's definitely a consideration going forwards. But like I said, for the desktop, the 4080 still for me is the best system to be using at the desktop. So for the moment, the XTX is back on the sim rig, but like I said, when new games get launched, I'll just unplug it, I'll pull it back over, we'll go through the game on both systems and we'll see what works and what doesn't. So yeah, like I said, if that's the type of content you want to watch, then awesome. Maybe subscribe, chuck me a like if you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one.